My name, Philip from New Orleans. Welcome, Philip. Um, I am going to get us going tonight. My name is Sheila Gold. I am the Executive Director of Recruitment and Admission for Tulane School of Professional Advancement. There is also a picture up of our Dean, Suri Deitch, who sometimes joins us for these webinars. I'm Colin, calling from New York. Welcome, Colin. So tonight, we really appreciate you being with us. We're going to go through our programs, what we think makes us special and different from other programs and master's programs throughout the country. We're going to talk a little bit about the history of the school, how we support students. We're going to talk about our application process, and then we'll give you a minute or two to answer some questions. If you want to drop those in the chat along the way, you certainly can. And then we will also have my contact information put up for you all at the end of this webinar, so that if you're not comfortable asking your questions, or if you don't think of something on the spot, please feel free to reach out to me. I love hearing from prospective students, and so that's why I offer my contact information. So with that said, let me go ahead and get started. So a little bit about SoPA. SoPA stands for the School of Professional Advancement. Tulane University is made up of 9 small colleges, one of which is the School of Professional Advancement. The university itself was founded in 1834 as the Medical College of Louisiana. It was actually founded as a response to the yellow fever epidemic that was hitting the Gulf South. And really ravaging a lot of our population back in the 1830s. And here we are, ironically, back in another pandemic. And so what's old is new again. But what's important for you to know about sort of the timeline of the university is that 50 years after its founding, which is not very long in the history of our university, the very first iteration of the School of Professional Advancement was founded, and its mission was to educate working adults and non-traditional learners from the city of New Orleans. And so essentially, excuse me, we wanted to offer an education to learners who had maybe been in the workforce for a while, maybe they had been sick with yellow fever or some other reasons that they were unable to do sort of the traditional graduate high school at 18 years old, go to college. Any other type of student other than that would attend the School of Professional Advancement. So what's important for you to know is that we have a 130-year history of working and educating working professionals. So we feel like we do a pretty good job of it. And I'm going to share with you some of the reasons tonight why we think that we can offer you a really spectacular education. So some of the things we are going to talk about is the depth of our online education. All of our master's degrees are offered online. But we do online in what I feel like is an exceptional way, and I'll give a couple details and examples of that later. We're also going to talk about what programs we offer, our faculty, and why I feel like our faculty are different and differentiators from other schools and programs. We're going to talk about all the levels of support that we offer our students. We're going to talk about the application process and affordability. And of course, all of this is wrapped up. And at the end, you get a Tulane diploma. And we do feel like our students tell us that the Tulane diploma helps open up doors for them when it comes time to get jobs. And that is sort of what people go back to school with the end goal of being. So we feel like we help you do that. So with that said, let me tell you a little bit about our online learning at SoPA. So a lot of people had never even heard of online learning until COVID hit. We've actually been in the online space way before that. We entered into the online space in 2017, and we approached it very differently from how most schools do it. We have on our staff at SoPA a group of education professionals who are called instructional designers. This is a little bit of a new term to folks who aren't in the educational space. So instructional designers are folks who went and got their master's in education, but they weren't interested in teaching in the classroom. They were interested in what's called instructional design, which is a newer field of education. And what interests them is taking traditional curriculum that usually gets taught in a building with a teacher standing at the front of the classroom and students sitting in rows, and translating that curriculum to make engaging online education. So your experience is supposed to be very interactive, very exciting, and you also have the opportunity to do what a lot of people miss with online education, which is create relationships. So there's small group work, there's opportunities for you to meet your professor, there is some sort of Zoom get together and get to know each other, but also a lot of other opportunities for you all to have projects that you can sort of do simulations in, mimic real world scenarios. It's a very different from schools where it's like flip through the PowerPoint or maybe watch a video and then put a response up on the board. It's much more sort of high-end engagement. So that is, well, two examples that I can show you if you'll flip to the next slide. So we actually have some of our classes that you can take in the metaverse. So you can actually build yourself an avatar, go into a simulation of some sort of scenario that your professor wants you to experience, and then you will have some sort of response paper that you will submit in response to actually having gone through a tabletop exercise or some sort of simulation that they want you to have a virtual experience about. So that is very different than, you know, flipping through a PowerPoint. Another way that we offer our curriculum, and this is meant for folks who are on the go, who are busy, who are working, have families, all sorts of other responsibilities, is lectures will be uploaded to a podcast. So you can listen to that in short chunks. You can listen to part of it while you're doing the dishes, part of it in your car. You can listen to it, you know, on your way to work or as you're working out. These are different ways of offering the curriculum so that you can consume the lessons in a very different, engaging way. And, you know, some students actually are auditory learners, so they learn better when they're listening. Some students are experiential learning, so getting into the metaverse is different. Some students are visual learners, so actually reading something and watching something is a way that they do better. So our instructional designers have figured out how to have you consume the curriculum so that all learners are catered to. So any questions, by the way, that you all have during this process, please go ahead and drop it in the chat. I'm very happy to answer those. So let me tell you a little bit about our faculty and why they also, I feel like, are a differentiator from other programs that you might be looking at. So our faculty are all what are called professors of practice, and that means that they actually do what they teach. So they all have been or currently are professionals in the fields that they actually teach. So that means that you're getting real world experience. So if you all have ever sat in a classroom, and I know that I've had this experience, I'll be like listening to a lesson and it seems super interesting, but I'm like, what would that look like in real life? Like, what would that look like if I were actually doing what it is that we're talking about? And so sometimes if you have a professor that hasn't done that kind of work, it's just sort of theoretical. But if you have a professor of practice, they can tell you what that looks like. You can say, tell me, and they'll give you an example of times where they have actually faced the topic that you're talking about in class that day. So for instance, for our Masters of Public Administration program, Ashley Hand is one of our faculty members. She's actually the director of strategic communications for Kansas City. So she has dealt with nonprofits, city policy work, the civic sector. She can tell you sort of how crafting communications, dealing with different political bodies, she does that work and she can bring that into the classroom. Derek Bose same kind of thing. Tyra Mitchell is our assistant director in our kinesiology program. She actually has her doctorate in physical therapy and was the chief of physical therapy at Ochsner Health Systems, which for those of you who are not from Louisiana, that is our big medical system here in New Orleans and actually outside also in Louisiana. Ralph Russo is the director of our cyber and IT program. So Ralph is a former NYPD officer, but after 9/11, he helped the NYPD put together their first cybersecurity units. So Ralph gets all, and not only has he done the work, but all of his professors that he knows from his network, he brings in. And so why this is important beyond sort of being able to ask your professors, what does that look like? They also are bringing the most important aspects of their field into the classroom right now. So when you graduate, you actually know what the workforce is looking for. You are workforce ready upon graduation. And so we feel like our students, report back to us after graduation that has been a very big deal for them. Next slide, please. So I'm just you all don't need me to read this to you, but I'm gonna read the very first slide to you, just to sort of demonstrate what I was saying. So Amanda Fennell is an adjunct professor she's a chief information officer at Relativity, and she teaches in our cybersecurity program. And she said, as a cybersecurity leader, I feel it's vital to prepare our professionals through practical experience, which is why I incorporate my day job into my classes at night. And that's a much better way of saying everything that I said to you up until now. She brings her day job into the classroom. And so you can learn from industry leaders about what they think is important for you to know and what's important for you to take out into the workforce. So we do feel like that gives our students a competitive edge. Next slide, please. All right, so what are the degrees that we offer at the School of Professional Advancement? This is a list of the master's degrees that we specifically offer at SoPA. Cybersecurity, emergency management, health and wellness management, homeland security, IT management, a Master of Liberal Arts, which is a very broad master's. The Masters of Liberal Arts literally doesn't have a specific curriculum. You can just take classes that reach the maximum number of credits that you need from all different liberal arts curriculum. So it's almost a make your own master's degree. It's very fun. Our Masters of Public Administration, our Masters in Security Management, and our Masters in Sports Studies. We also offer several certificates and graduate certificates, and I'm not actually going to read all of these to you all. You will get a copy of this slide deck mailed to you tomorrow. So you will have to read this on your own if you want to go back and see what these are. But graduate certificates are for students who feel like they're not quite ready in terms of time to take a whole master's degree, but they want to get a strong knowledge base in a very particular area. What's important to know about our graduate certificates is that they stack into the master's degrees. So if you come and get a graduate certificate in cyber defense, you can apply that towards a cyber master's degree. But you don't have to. You could just stop at the master's degree. Now, the only certificate on here that doesn't work that way is our cyber technology fundamentals. And that is meant specifically for folks who are interested in cyber or IT, but they have not had a background in computers. So if you're like, look, I've been working in business or accounting or teaching or whatever, and I want to make a career change to either cyber or IT work, you can do that. You would just have to take the cyber technology fundamentals, and it will give you all the prerequisites that you need to get accepted into the master's degree. But all the rest of these stack in to a master's. Next, please. These are also what we call post-baccalaureate certificates. And these are a little bit quirky, but interesting for two types of people. If you're interested in education, or if you're interested in paralegal studies or interactive design. These are certificates for folks who already have a bachelor's degree. You don't want a master's, but you want some additional education that goes kind of deep in these areas. They are actually undergraduate classes, but we put them in our graduate webinar because you have to have a bachelor's degree in order to qualify for these. So for most of the folks who are interested in education, these degrees or this certificate is very interesting to them. Okay. So here's something that we also feel like differentiates our program from some programs. Others offer this as well. We have what is called a credit for prior learning program. And essentially you can earn up to 6 credits, which is the equivalent of 2 classes, if you pursue a master's degree, but you have been working or have work experience or life experience in the field in which you're studying, and you have to take a course and you look at the course syllabus and you're like, I know all this already. I've been doing essentially what this course is trying to teach me. I've been doing professionally for 8 years. You can reach out to your advisor and the director of the program and say, I'd like to get credit for prior learning for this course. There are several steps that you have to go through to demonstrate that you understand the knowledge objectives of that course. But if you can demonstrate that you already have mastery over those knowledge objectives, then you can get credit for the course. And the reason that we like you to know this is because that's a savings of time and money. And that applies to many of our students because you all are professionals and coming back to school. So many of you will qualify for this. So it's something just to kind of keep in the back of your head and think about. Okay, student success and support. Another differentiator that we feel like is different is we are not a huge school. We're not like a giant state school with like hundreds of students. So we feel like we can offer our students a tremendous amount of support as they navigate their way through our program. We are committed not just to having students get admitted to our program, but we want to see you graduate. All of our faculty and staff love graduation day. It's like we're throwing a party. We love it because we love seeing our students walk across the stage and graduate. And so we are dedicated to having you be successful. So we're not just interested in like getting you in and saying, yay, we admitted this amount of students. We also like to say, yay, we graduated this amount of students. So we give you 2 different advisors. You get an academic advisor, you get a faculty advisor. And then we also give you a career advisor, and our career advisor is dedicated just to our SoPA students. So we do not share a career advisor with any other part of the university. She is here to help you with your LinkedIn, to help you with your resume, and also our career advisor oftentimes for all the industries that we have master's degrees for lots of businesses in our area and also nationally will send us job postings even before they put them public, like on Indeed and those kinds of places. So our career advisor is constantly pushing out available job postings nationwide, and our students oftentimes get the opportunity to apply to those before other people either in the city or the country. Also, our faculty who have industry experience, once again, they do what they teach, are also there as a resource to our students. And our students find that they create relationships with faculty members that end up helping them get jobs closer towards graduation. So that is sort of all the support that we offer to our students. And I would tell you, take advantage of it. Okay, a little bit about our affordability and how we can have you all apply to go to the school. So our tuition rate at SoPA for graduate programs is $1,158 per credit hour, and our courses are 3 credit hours. So that's about $3,300, a little bit more per class. What is important for you all to understand is that we have very, very few fees on top of that. So as you're comparing our school to other schools, always factor in fees. Many schools, when you start adding on the fees, it can almost double your tuition rate. You will not have that happen at SoPA. We cap our fees, and most of our students do not pay more than maybe $150 total per semester on top of their tuition. So, and sometimes it's less than that. So you need to realize that you pay basically just tuition with a nominal amount of fees. So that is something to keep in mind. With that said, we know that school is a financial commitment. So there are several ways that students finance their education. Federal grants and loans, please fill out the FAFSA form and fill that out early. Don't wait, fill it out early and get it in like when you're filling out your admissions application. Also get your FAFSA form in. For those of you who are active duty or veterans, we are proudly a yellow ribbon school. And we also offer several 20% tuition discounts to different groups of people. So if you're active duty, military, or a veteran, if you are active or retired public safety personnel, EMS, firefighter, policemen, that sort of safety personnel. If you have a degree from a minority serving institution, like an HBCU or a Hispanic serving institution, or if you are a PTK member, which is the Honor Society for two-year colleges. If you were a member in good standing of PTK, all you have to do is send us your membership the certificate and upload that, and you are also eligible. Another way that I like to just remind folks is the credit for prior learning. If you can actually save credits for 2 classes and tuition for 2 classes, that saves you time and money. Okay, so our application process. So we try to make our application process very straightforward. With that said, there are always questions, and that is okay. Please feel free during the application process to email me and ask questions. We like it when students ask questions. We like getting to know you. We philosophically feel like the application process is the beginning of our relationship building with students. So please reach out. With that said, I'm going to kind of go through the process with you now. Our application is an electronic application. It lives on our website. Our website address is sopa.tulane.edu. When you go there, there's a big button at the top that says apply. Just click that, and that opens you up into our application portal. There are several pieces of the application that you will need to submit. We will need a current government ID. For most folks, that means just taking your phone and taking a picture of your driver's license and uploading it, or a passport. We will need transcripts from every school from which you received college credit, undergraduate or graduate. So go ahead and get those sent to us. You can mail those to us, or you can electronically send those to us. I prefer electronically sending. We get them faster and they don't get lost in the mail. So it's just a little bit of an easier way to do it. Not all schools can send electronically, and that's totally fine. We do not require the GRE, so most people are very happy to hear that. And then for many of our graduate applications, there will be written portions. There'll be short answer questions and a longer personal statement. Please take your time answering these questions. They have a twofold purpose. The first one is we like to see how well you write. Many of our master's programs require writing, and so we need to sort of see that you are a good writer. The other thing is that the professors who are reading your application, they're very interested in your answers. They want to know why you want to go to their program, why you want to study what it is that you're studying, maybe some life experiences that you've had that prepare you for these programs. So be thoughtful and also do things like proofread, make sure that you spell check, all of those things. And then also our applications may ask you for your resume. So don't be surprised if you get asked for that. Finally, we require a $50 application fee. However, we waive that fee for anybody who is attending this webinar. So if you have not submitted your application, when you do, your fee will automatically get waived. If you have already applied and paid that fee, email me and I can refund it to you. It's a very easy process, so please email me. right. So finally, some deadlines that you all should know about. We have 3 starts per year. We have a fall start, a spring start, and a summer start. Our next start is for summer 2023. That application is open right now, and that application deadline is May 1. The start after that is our traditional fall start. The application deadline is August 1. And then if you're really planning way ahead for next spring, our application deadline is January 1. Okay, those deadlines are the absolute last deadline date to submit your application. Don't wait that long. This is my pro tip to you. Apply now. If you know you're going to apply to the school, apply now. We read applications on a rolling basis. And if you get admitted and register by the early scholarship dates that you see on the screen, you will get a $500 scholarship that will be applied towards your first semester's tuition bill. So for instance, if you're interested in starting this summer, if you apply now, get accepted and register for classes by April 25th, you'll get $500 applied to your first tuition bill. Same thing for fall. If you apply and register for classes by June 1, $500 scholarship. And for next spring, if you apply and register by December 1, you'll get that scholarship. So there's no need to procrastinate. Let us help you sort of take some of the financial burden off that first semester. And this gives you time to sort of plan, get accepted to the school, and sort of get yourself, organized and be ready for the first semester. So that is the nuts and bolts of our webinar. But what I want to do is give you all a minute or two. If you have a question, you can drop it in the chat. While I'm waiting to see if anybody has questions, my contact information is on the screen. That is my email, sgold@tulane.edu. That is a phone number where you can reach me, but I always tell folks, email me, don't call me. I'm not always next to my phone, but I'm like always in front of my email. So that is by far the easiest way to get me. And don't be shy. If you have questions about the application process or any other questions, I love to hear from students. Okay, I do not see any questions in the chats. So if we don't have any questions, that is fine. But I want to thank you all for being with us tonight. And once again, if after this webinar you do have questions, please reach out. And I certainly hope that we will be welcoming you all as students to Tulane very soon. So have a great night, and thank you for spending some of your evening with us. Thanks, everybody.